Hello, everyone. To all my friends around the world, welcome, and I'm really glad to see you today. It's been a lot of really rough news, and it can make you very, very tense. And tonight, I think it would be nice to be reminded of all of the help that we are actually getting and will continue to get. And I think I've got a pretty special program put together for you tonight. I'm going to go ahead and say hello to everybody real quick in the chat. TNT, Robin, Kim, Patricia, Curb Creeper, Adrian, Dan, and we've got Pastor Anthony, welcome, Blanca, Mark Rufner, or is it Lieutenant Mark Rufner? And I think I got everybody. Okay, all right. I also wanted to give a shout out to Daily Excellence's channel and Paul and Adrian's. Both links are in the description box. Pretty sure I put it there. Yeah, I did. And, link to my backup channel. Hello, Paula. I'm so glad to see you. And Sandy, awesome. Much love, girl. Y'all ready to get started? Okie dokie. All right. As we look into prophecy in the face of today's reality, those with eyes to see already know war is coming, not just internally, but from abroad. All nations are facing this stark reality right now. Remember first that the victors of World War I and World War II would not have been won by the same people had God not been invited onto certain battlefields. Tyranny would have already won before a single battle cry could be heard. These brave soldiers believed in God and God's country. Our grandfathers, our fathers, our great-grandfathers, they raised us with common sense, sent us to church all the time, and I mean all the time. And they told us what happened. Extraordinary things. And they wrote them down for posterity. And we're going to have our own stories sooner than later. Okay. We're going to start with the history of accounts of angels in war and battle with us. Yeah, I got these stories. Okay. In World War I, there was a charter for a Jewish Commonwealth happening, the Balfour Declaration. It was 1914. They call it Vision of Llanelli or Llanelli in South Wales. It's 2 L's. Anyway, 2 weeks before the start of World War I, a vision appeared in a church during a sermon above the pastor's head. He had been preaching, quote, that I may know Jesus and the fellowship of his sufferings, unquote. Hundreds flocked in to see. Many of them were men getting saved that had no idea that God was not only calling them to him, but soon to call them home. During the Battle of Mons there in August of 1914, there was a little army of troops known as the Contemptibles. Kind of reminds you of the Deplorables. This little contemptible army would hold back the Germans for a critical 2 days. The same 2 days, the war could have been lost right then and there. Near Mons, the Battle of Cateau, or Cateau, it's Cateau, I don't know, Cateau, my bad. The men began their march back exhausted while war continued on. Many of the men reported seeing a heavenly cavalry of horsemen brigades riding alongside them on both sides during the march. A soldier's wife said that she had received a letter from her husband that said he'd seen angels all around in battle. He went on to describe how that later his troop had been ordered to advance. But as soon as they reached the road on horseback, all their horses stopped and refused to move until the soldiers decided to turn back to base. I'm not talking about a handful of horsemen. I'm talking about a lot of horsemen. Not a single horse would take another step forward. There had been an ambush waiting for them up the road a ways. They believed that angels had stood in front of the horses to stop them. Newspaper reports began to come into the newspapers. This one was in the Observer, August 22nd, 1915. A nurse in the military hospital was told by a soldier that a critical period in the retreat from Mons, a luminous angel with outstretched wings came between the Germans and themselves. At that moment, the onslaught of the enemy slackened. Unable to credit the story, she discussed it with a group of officers. A colonel looked up and said, "Young lady, the thing happened. You need not be incredulous. I saw it myself." Confirmation also came from the enemy. In a Berlin newspaper, it was also reported on July 28th, 1915, that a regiment which was ordered to do a certain duty in battle was censured for failing to carry out certain orders. They reported that they did not attempt to charge forward, but were absolutely powerless. Why? Because their horses turned sharply round and fled like the wind, and nothing could stop them. A German lieutenant, a prisoner in British hands, said, "I only know that we were charging full on the British at a certain place, and in a moment we were stopped. It was like going at full speed and being pulled up suddenly as if on a precipice, but there was no precipice there, nothing at all. Only our horses swerved round and fled. We could do nothing." Pax, a correspondent of Light dated July 10th, 1915, was inquiring into the many stories of the visions at the battlefront, which were widely circulating. He quoted the following from an artilleryman, and they absolutely vouch for the truth of it. Okay, there was another one called the Christmas Miracle. A lot of you might be familiar with it. Germans and British call for a truce, a day and a night, to trade and serenade each other with Christmas caroling before resuming battle. Then we had World War II examples. At the time, the nation of Israel came out of this war. A lot of Americans who joined the fight had been raised in the Great Depression. Norway, April 1940, Germans attacked the town of Elverum at 5:30 a.m. The only remaining structures were a church and a Red Cross hospital. After that attack, that's all that was left. Church and the Red Cross hospital. Then another one y'all might be extremely familiar with, Hacksaw Ridge Miracle. There was a dude named Desmond Doss. His only weapon was the Bible. He'd kept saying, while trying to rescue all of his soldier friends, "God help me get one more." And they'd go back and get another one under fire, giving medical aid. Afterwards, the soldiers waited till Doss was done praying before they went out on the battlefield. They were hungry for what Doss had spiritually. They may not have been spiritual men, but they were hungry for it now. A seed, and a powerful one, had been planted. Okay? And Doss had the Spirit of God. And you realize what you've been searching for all your life when you get a taste of that Spirit of God. You're hungry. That's what you're hungry. That's what you're missing. And they were getting a taste of it. Desmond Doss was one candle with the courage to stay lit in the darkest of places and inspired generations. There was the miracle of Dunkirk, described as such by Winston Churchill. Stranded European soldiers, over 300,000, were stranded in a place that was considered hard to evacuate due to the winds and choppy water that were usually there. But this day, the weather calmed. Very odd for that to happen. Doesn't normally ever happen, but it did this day. That it's like Jesus on that boat in the storm. He just calmed that water. Initial estimates for surviving soldiers were placed at less than 45,000, but instead 338 226 troops were rescued. Local natives came in droves to help everyone evacuate. In the Korean War, a Marine fighting in Korea took note of a very tall and fit soldier walking next to him that he'd never seen before. The unknown soldier said his name was Michael. It began to snow, and the Marine got a little ahead of his platoon. When the snow stopped falling not long after, the Marine saw several commie soldiers with guns pointed right at him. He hit the ground for cover, but the other soldier, Michael, stood valiantly and wasn't getting hit. The Marine tried to pull Michael down and worry for his life, but the Marine was shot. As he was losing consciousness, he saw that Michael had a shimmering sword. When he woke in the hospital later, everyone wanted to know how he had killed all those people without firing a single shot, and said that there was no man walking with him when they saw him up ahead. Let's check on the chat super fast. Thank you for the thumbs up, everybody. And it's wonderful when y'all share and your comments. And if you haven't, please subscribe. Nancy Drew says on January 10th, she had a head-on car accident precisely where I saw them as I was heading for prayer at church. Had been fasting for 22 days. I'm still here for his reason, awaiting to find out. Ooh. Wow. That's a powerful testimony. See, that's what I'm talking about. Testify. Helps everyone be encouraged. I want to go on. There's more. The Korean War. A Marine fighting in Korea took note of a very tall and fit soldier. Okay, we did that. Vietnam War. Sorry, we got to go down a little bit. Scroll. An Army soldier takes a picture of a skyline. When the photo is developed, an angel can be seen in the picture. A soldier was pushing bombs down a track. This is another story during the Vietnam War. This track had a block function that would stop the bomb at some point as they're rolling down the tracks. But that function failed. He couldn't get the attention of the other soldiers because of the noise. He was holding onto the fin for dear life, trying to keep it from rolling, but couldn't hold on any longer. He said a prayer to God. The missile had head and tail detonators. He watched as it rolled off the edge nose first, but instead of detonating, the nose cracked apart. Nothing happened. That was a miracle. All right. Okay, so that's the past. So we know that since God doesn't change, he had people in the angels with us in other battles, other wars. They're going to be with us today and going into the biggest war, okay? There is a modern day things that are going on with angels, okay? And I have a couple of testimonies for that too, of things that have happened, let's say in the last 50 years, which is almost how old I am. When I was 16, I was in the mall with my parents, and they were in the movie front doing whatever, I don't know, but I was sitting on a bench in the hall outside, and I was thinking about whether or not I ever wanted to have kids. And I mean, I was thinking hard. The mall was so busy that all the people in front of me just kind of faded away. I wasn't even aware anymore, really. Next thing I know, a voice broke out. And I mean, I would have felt if somebody sat on this bench. I would have known. I know I would have. But I heard a voice and said, what could somebody as young as yourself be so worried about? And I looked over. It's an older dressed kind of suit. He had a bow tie and the hat and, the jacket. And it was just a very old fashioned suit with a bow tie. And I told him, I said, I was just wondering if I ever want to have kids, basically. And he said, well, if you're this worried about it, then you'll be a great mom. And I ended up having kids after that from that moment, but I don't even remember seeing him leave, to be honest. And then 2 days ago, I was driving, And I'd been writing the prayer that we're going to do on September 25th. And I mean, I was just getting so filled with the Holy Spirit that it was hard to check, if the prayer was going the way I wanted it to go, because I kept going into the Holy Spirit, right? But 2 nights ago, I saw, as I turned a corner, a wisp of smoke or vapor. It was kind of like on the edge of the ditch on the road I was turning. But it wasn't smoke. It wasn't coming up out of the ground. It was just still and hovering right there. And I recognized it. I'd seen that light different times. And I knew that was God or an angel nearby. I just wasn't sure what it was about. And then 30 minutes later, I was making a left. And I saw it again on a different corner on the road I was turning, just like before. And then again, about 30 minutes later, when I got home and I was going into the door, it was on my left side. And it was that light right there, that light of vapor or something. It was something was with me the whole time I was out until I got home. Okay. And there was a couple of videos back that someone had made a comment, Emily Ann. She had a little story. She said, God sent me a miracle in the city of Philly. My friend and I got locked out of her car after a concert in the middle of winter without phones or jackets. They were locked in the car. My friend even had her key fob, but it wasn't unlocking the door. 2 different cops we found each refused to help us in any way. The venue wouldn't let us back in. We were desperate, cold, and crying, huddled up near the building. I remember praying. In short time, a homeless man came walking up and started talking to us. After he heard our story, he gave my friend and I each a jacket to wear, as he was wearing 3. He then said to wait and walk to get us help. Within minutes, he came back riding in a tow truck. The tow guy got us in our car quick. He saved our lives. I gave them each money I'd tucked in my boot. He told us he was an angel and that God had sent him. It was true. We cried all the way home. It was really a miracle. I never had been so happy to have a home to go to with a porch light on for me. The people we pay to help us didn't. A man who had nothing did. I'll never forget it. And then we've got prophecies in the Bible. Now, Revelation, it has a lot of prophecies about angels and what they're doing. I pulled a few out and one from Daniel. Hold on. I actually went to the doctor about my kidneys. And I'm on some antibiotics now. Let's get the water. Some big antibiotic pills. But I got stuff to do. I don't have time for a kidney infection. Okay. All right. Angels for our time. Daniel 10, verses 10 through 14. And behold, a hand touched me, which set me upon my knees and upon the palms of my hands. And he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto thee, and stand upright, for unto thee am I now sent. When he had spoken this word to me, I stood trembling. Then he said unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before God, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words. But the prince of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of our chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. Now I'm come to make thee understand what shall befall thy people in the latter days, for yet the vision is for many days. Revelation 7, so that's an angel talking to Daniel about our times and the times we're going into. Okay, and he's there. This angel is not just talking to Daniel, but he's going to be fighting with us in the future. Revelation 7, 1 through 3. And after these things I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. Revelation 9. So they're going to be sealing, not just, they have the mark of the beast, but then there's the seal of God, and the servants are going to have to be sealed. Revelation 9, 1 through 4. And the 5th angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. Well, he had to get that key from Jesus, didn't he? And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men who have not the seal of God in their foreheads. So, for real, don't want those bugs after you. No. They come from the pit of hell. They're not even normal bugs. Okay? Let's check the chat. How's everybody doing? Great. Thank you for the thumbs up. Oh, thank you, Nancy. Ooh, healing is good. Hello, Humbled and Patricia. Stay focused and fight the good fight. Yes. Keep that faith. We're not alone. We are not alone at all. We never actually were. And God had a lot to say about our day. So he's watching us right now. He's got all kinds of plans. He's got this. All we have to do is endure and have faith, hold our posts, encourage one another. Thank you, Adrian. Hello, Robert. Thank you, Robert. Yes. Hello, Cowboys 8 panel. Awesome. TNT did make it. Everybody's doing so great in the chat. That's wonderful. All right, we're almost done. Oh, yes. Now, Revelation 18, 19, and 20, things start getting really climactic, as far as prophecy goes. Revelation 18, 1 and 2. And after these things, I saw another angel. Another. So there's lots of angels in this book. But he saw another angel, somebody did, come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. Like, can you imagine like a light just coming over everything around you because there's an angel there? What's he doing? Well, he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. So he's not just doing what angels do, giving messages. He's making a declaration. Something is about to happen to Babylon. In Revelation 19, verses 17 and 18, and I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God, that ye may eat the flesh of kings and the flesh of captains. Can you imagine all those kings and captains and people that are major in charge that day? Their end will be with buzzards. That's not very glorious. There's no good legacy. What a fall. Well, if you're going to go after fallen angels, what are you destined to do? Fall from a great place. And it looks like in Revelation 19, that's exactly what's happening. Not just them, but their horses too. in the flesh of all men, both free and bond, small and great. Revelation chapter 20, verses 1 through 4. Yes, this is the last Bible verse. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit. Yes, this is the ultimate climax of the war. This is when you're at the Battle of Armageddon, the armies of earth are facing off, and Jesus is coming in the clouds with thousands of his saints, right? One of these, there's an angel there, comes down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold of the dragon. Is it possibly the one that let them bugs out earlier, that same angel? I wonder. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loosed a little season. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus, and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. So you see, and I didn't even talk about all of the angels that are actually going to be there. We have a lot more. I mean, it's so easy to look at all of the bad that's happening, but you got to remember, if you were able to stock up, it's because God is working. He's working. He has people he's working through, angels he's working through. See, he's preparing us. He's getting us mentally and spiritually prepared for everything. So it doesn't matter when that ball drops. It doesn't matter really. In some cases, what we do or don't have. What we have is our faith. Okay. They said only 3 there. Alap said no 4. So 4. Yes, you must be talking about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And I really appreciate what they were saying right before everything happened. They were like, if the Lord wants to take us, we're still not bowing down to you. Like, from the punishment they were fixing to get. They're like, well, if the Lord takes us, he takes us. But if he sees fit to save us, and guess what happens? So that's the way I think we should have too. If the Lord wants to take us home, he take us home. If he sees fit to save us, he'll save us. I'm very glad to see you. Hello, Lion Bay. Soon to be united. Oh, thank you, Patricia. Girl, thank you. My angels walk among you. Okay. I want to show you one more little angel, because he got a name now. This is Friday. Y'all might remember him. See, he is a sweet little boy. He doesn't meow much, and if he does, you can barely hear it. But he's a big-time cuddler. And guess what his name is? Friday. We named him Friday because that's the day we got him. And he's my boy. He's good. He's happy. So, I've got a couple little angels around me. They really are. Just thought I'd give you all that announcement. But don't forget, September 25th, we are doing a prayer. It's going to be unlike other prayers, because we're in the last days, and we're going to be saying really more of a prayer of the children of the last days, prayer that we should. It's going to be powerful. Okay. Seriously, because the Holy Spirit just keeps coming over me. All right. So I think we covered everything for today. We've got another one coming up in a few days ish. And we're going to be talking about the Bride of Christ, otherwise known as the Woman of Sorrows, aka the Woman of the Apocalypse. All 3 of those titles were always on top of Revelation 12. We're gonna take a look at that. Okay, we're not going to use the glasses that other preachers have, where they read the first 3 sentences and stop. We're going to look at the rest of the fit too. And that's very, very important to do. All right. And I think that it might be a little bit enlightening, to be honest with you. I love you guys. Alan62, glad that you can make it too. Please share out the video. Please be here September 25th when we do the prayer. I love you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.